Right, Rich.
Hello.
Okay, we're a little bit defeated because we just finished watching episode 1 of Mr. Birchum.
We did.
A TV show by Adam Carolla, the only member of the Man Show who wasn't in on the joke.
Yeah.
So man, we was watching this episode. We were going into it knowing we were going to write an episode of it at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And at 2 minutes 47, I said to you, we could stop watching now and we sort of have the entire premise. We have everything. So we watched the entire thing and we learned nothing.
No, nothing happened. About 5 separate things were going on at once. And all of them meant nothing. It was fascinating.
It was just Mr. Birchum on a soapbox with occasional cutaway gags.
Yeah, where he just was like, it's like when I saw a bear in the woods. And then...
Right, so we have an episode idea.
Yeah. What was it?
So in the news recently, it was announced that gay fairy hackers hacked into... Was it Project 2025?
Oh, yeah, I think it's like to do with a corporation.
So I reckon that could be a fun episode. Gay fairy hackers hack into the school system and Mr. Birchum wants to track them down and take out revenge.
We need to settle. So the son's a gamer. Right. Cool gamer move.
Yeah. Do you reckon he gets his son to help him track down these hackers?
Yeah.
I reckon we start in the classroom maybe.
Mm-hmm.
He's teaching a class and maybe he says I'm about to mark all your attendance, but he goes onto the school system and it's completely down.
Yeah, and it's like, it doesn't matter, I've got a pen. George Washington signed the Constitution with a pen.
I don't think he did.
Well, that's what he just says shit, doesn't he? Doesn't need to be real. Yeah. And maybe one of the kids is like, I actually think it was a quill. He's like, that feather shit? No. So yeah, he decides to go on paper, but then Ponzi comes in and it's like, no, I didn't see you put it on the system. He's like, we haven't had a system for years. What was it? When I was born, we used paper. And they're like, well, no, we have a system now, so you need to use the system.
Do you think Mr. Birchum would immediately blame the gay fairy hackers?
So he's got an eye on a few students who don't want to do any work, and he's like, gonna be them. And then he enlists his son. So he starts hacking them.
Okay, so he believes it's his students purposefully blocking him.
Yeah, but he thinks you can just hack through woodwork. He builds. Maybe he's like, I can't hack. I've got to build. He goes, you can't hack wood. And then it just cuts to a lumberjack hacking at wood with an axe. For fuck's sake, man.
So how is he going to investigate the students that he's suspicious of?
So he thinks he can do it through wood.
Right? How?
Well, he goes, well, it's a network, right? And he's like, everything's based on paper.
Right.
He thinks he can make a wooden contraption that can beat the smartphones.
Okay, but what's his contraption?
Well, there's a 5-minute montage where he thinks he's done it. And you're like, oh, what's he doing? What's he building? And then one of the kids comes in. Triggers the contraption, the phone, because they've always got the phones in their hands, haven't they? Yeah. So what happens is a big hammer just breaks it into bits, and he goes, I knew it! It was you all along! Okay. He's like, what do you mean, Mr. Birchum? It's like, only a commie phone will break that apart that quick.
I imagine Ponzi will come in during this.
Yeah, he's like, well, you've just destroyed student property. He's like, it wasn't property, it was spyware. So then, naturally, obviously none of this works, and then he has to ask his son.
It wasn't property, it was spyware. The feeling you get with Mr. Birchum is when he's talking, he's not really listening to what other people are saying.
No! He's just waiting to say some, Trumpism.
He's just waiting to parrot some conservative thinking points.
Yeah, he's got some gotcha moment locked and loaded.
I can't wait till they finish talking so I could talk about talk about this.
So I can talk about the stuff that I half listened to on Alex Jones' podcast.
So he goes to his son. I was going to say maybe he can make a genuine plea, but knowing Mr. Birchum, he'd walk in and tell him that he has to do it.
Yeah, he probably walks in and uses the contraption on the television and it breaks. Like, Dad, I was playing Counter-Strike.
You keep calling it a contraption. Is it just 2 pieces of wood with a hammer at the end of it? Yeah.
It's just the hammer, essentially. Yeah. But he likes to think that he built something. It's not even a well-made hammer. It's just something resembling a hammer. It's a contraption. He thinks he's like Rick, doesn't he? That's the Mr. Birchum thinks he's like the god of Rick, but in reality, all he can make is just fucking shitty patios.
So now the son's TV is broken, so he has to help.
Yeah, so like, oh well, fine, okay, I haven't got anything else to do. And
so
then
the son will be on his laptop.
Yeah, and he's like, can I have your school network, Dad?
Mr. Birchum just right over his shoulder watching everything he does.
With a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, son, I make it an issue never to remember the password. He's like, how do you bank? He's like, I haven't banked since 1994. He's like, why that year? I don't know.
You don't need internet banking. All you need is a firm handshake and a bank teller.
That's it. There we go. That's it. You never seen Catch Me If You Can? I love that because Frank Abagnale like conned everyone. It's like, oh, that's just a bullshit lie anyway. But he still thinks it's probably real.
Dustin Hoffman, his dad in that movie, famously went into banks and conned them by just lying. So that joke really works. Have you ever seen Catch Me If You Can?
Okay, that's class.
It's also perfect because it's a movie that's 20 years old. Like all of the references in Mr. Birchum.
That's actually, yeah, we need to clue ourselves up on a... Can we have like loads of scenes where he's just watching Tim Allen's Home Improvement?
He's like, yeah, watch this bit, it gets me every time. And he onboards the TV and it's just Tim Allen doing that noise.
Yeah. Or there's a bit where the son comes in and like he's got a tear to his eye. And he goes, Tim Allen just saved Christmas again. It's fucking beautiful. What the woke left unto him is Buzz Lightyear. I'll never forgive.
You know, son, I've only cried 3 times. The day you were born, the day my father died, and when Tim Allen saved Christmas.
When Tim Allen saved Christmas. And then he's like, and you know what? You did it 3 more times.
Right.
Did it 3 more times.
So the son is hacking into the school network.
I reckon he's just not. I reckon like he just says he is, but dad doesn't fucking know what it is. Meanwhile, he's like, just give me a few days, Dad.
Maybe he's got a YouTube video, you know, where it's just like fast typing.
Yeah, he's just YouTubed data hacking graphic, and he's just typing fast, and he's like, I've got this, Dad. He's like, you know, son, if you weren't autistic, I'd love you. All that typing malarkey's not for me. Only women work with their fingers.
Doesn't he literally work with his fingers?
Yeah, but I reckon in his head it's like men work with the hands.
Yeah.
But women work with their fingers. So he's in school the next day and the system's still off. He's like, I'm going to take them to the woods. He's like, but sir, what are we going to do? We can't woodwork. He's like, oh, we'll woodwork, all right. And then he sneaks them out.
Right.
And they're all just in the back of his truck. And then the plod pull him over on the way. And he's like, why is there screaming in the back of your van, sir? He's like, what a man has in the back of his van and who he shares it with is down to the man. And they're like, so you're going to have to open up the back.
And maybe he just goes, but I'm white. The police just go, very well, sir, on your way.
He's like, that is a very good point, sir.
How do we solve this? Go on,
well, we ended on a big speech.
Of course.
On a big speech, and he's like...
Did he not catch the gay fairy hackers?
Well, it turns out that the...
Was the system just down?
Yeah, it was just down.
He's walking around playing.
Yeah, he's like breaking phones, bullying kids, saying it's the commies that's trying to stop him from woodworking. When really, and so earlier that episode, it got revealed that the federal government shut down because the Republicans were not wanting to sign the new...
We're blocking a vote.
Yeah, to not sign a bigger welfare plan. All that, it's like, America's under attack! The whole episode, he does like a big speech going, what is this? We're not the United States anymore. I grew up in America. Yeah, and then basically he does this speech, no one claps, but then the federal government passes the deal and the system comes on. He goes, by God, I've done it again. The The power of words.
See, it's a problem. It's not very Mr. Birchum if no one claps. I feel like an eagle needs to, like, fly overhead.
Maybe he impresses the kids, and the kids think he's like a god now because like he just done a speech and he was like, "Oh my God, Mr. Birchum, the hackers! He must have got convinced." And
they were watching.
Your Americanness, they were watching her the whole time.
Your Americanness scared them off.